Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ambassador Ryan, after 9/11, did you order an after-action report to determine how and in what circumstances the hijackers got into this country?
I sent a retired senior Foreign Service officer to Saudi Arabia to look at the operations of the consular sections in both Riyadh and Jeddah, and he advised me that they had followed all the procedures that we had in place at the time. In other words, no one didn't follow the way visas should be adjudicated, that they adjudicated the visas correctly, that we lacked information.
Did he make a written report to you?
Yes, I believe he did. I think he made a written report, which should be available to the Commission.
Thank you. The biggest inconsistency on the face of it between the staff statement and your view of the efficacy of interviews is what I understand you to be saying is if these names had been in the system, we would have found these people and prevented them from getting visas because the name would have been in the system. And I take your point. But then the question is, would you have found out anything had you interviewed them? Now, I thought you said that you did not think an interview of the sort that is contemplated in the visa process would determine or provoke a question whether someone was a terrorist. Was that your testimony?
Yes, in the type of visa interview that we were doing when I was in the Bureau of Consular Affairs, it's not a law enforcement kind of interview. It's just an interview. What we were basically trying to get at was whether the person was likely to remain in the country, in our country, illegally after his proposed visit to the United States. If you're doing 200 interviews a day, you can't spend a lot of time in an interview. And what you ask is where are they going to go and whom do they know and, you know, why they want to go. We always interviewed first-time students because we wanted to ensure that their English was sufficient to be able to undertake the course of study that they were planning to take and that their previous study in their own country had been of the type of study that would lead to higher education in the United States. It was a very cursory interview. There's also a body of thinking that the interpersonal interaction that you have with the applicant makes it harder to refuse the applicant because you get to know him or her a little bit by your questioning. So I think that it will be very instructive now that so many more people are being interviewed since September 11th. Once we have enough information about these interviews to see whether the interview alone will be able to detect a terrorist.
Can you imagine an interview process which would have efficacy in preventing terrorists from entering the country?
It would have to be a completely different interview process from the one that was before September 11th. It would have to be a much lengthier interview process. It's conceivable that in a much more law enforcement kind of interview, you would detect a terrorist. But that's something that you know, is for the administration and the Congress and the people to decide whether that's the kind of interviewing that we want. I mean, it's a risk management issue, and that's up to people who make our laws to decide that.
Thank you.